He sat on the edge of the bed. Long hair fell unbound around his shoulders. His eyes stared blankly at a wall he could not see. His face was a pale, lifeless mask. He wore only a thin silk robe. Dark marks bloomed across his exposed skin. He slowly lifted a hand to his wrist. Jagged scars from old bites circled the bone. A delicate gold chain was locked around his ankle. It stretched into the shadows of the room. Any movement caused a soft, irritating chime. He groped around the empty space beside him. His feet found the plush carpet. He shuffled slowly towards a small table. His hands found the plate of pastries. He ate a few small bites. Days ago, he had refused all food. The punishment for that had been severe. He had been forced to consume things that left him delirious for 2 days. The memory of that ordeal was terrifying. He feared its repetition more than anything. Caleb was at a session on the hill now. Aiden decided eating was the better choice. He would not give him the satisfaction. He refused to be a dying toy for his amusement. The fight for the family legacy was a brutal game. Before his secret was revealed, he was Aiden Chase. He was the golden son, beloved and powerful. After the truth came out, everything shattered. His mother had swallowed a bottle of pills. She begged his father to spare his life. She was not a perfect mother. She had schemed relentlessly for power, but she had loved him fiercely. He was thrown into a private holding cell. The interrogation was brutal and relentless. A blow to his head had stolen his sight. He had fallen from grace in a single moment. His mother's family was disgraced but spared. They were exiled to a quiet life in the Midwest. The family's real daughter had been raised by them. But Aiden, the imposter, was disowned. His father never wanted to see him again. He had always been beautiful and aloof. People who once sought his favor now despised him. They wanted to see him broken. Donovan, his eldest stepbrother, led the pack. They cornered him one night with pills. They wanted to humiliate him completely. The room was heavy with a sickeningly sweet scent. Their taunts and vile words filled his ears. Hands tore at his clothes, pinning him down. Suddenly, men in dark suits stormed the room. They broke through the door without. Someone swept him up into their arms. He had already been forced to take the drug. His body was no longer his own. A heavy coat enveloped him completely. The man carried him out to a waiting car. He was shameless beneath the dark fabric. He pressed against the man's body. A soft, pleading sound escaped his lips. The man's voice was a low rumble in his ear. He told Aiden how pathetic he sounded. Aiden bit his lip hard to stay silent. He could not see the man's face, but he knew the voice. He knew the crisp, woodsy scent of his cologne. It was Caleb, the forgotten fifth son. He had recognized Caleb's cold laugh earlier. Aiden begged him through a choked sob. He asked Caleb to just kill him. The car sped through the city streets. Caleb never answered his desperate plea. They arrived at a secure penthouse apartment. Caleb carried his disheveled form inside. That night, Aiden broke completely. He let Caleb do whatever he wanted. He gasped for air, his dignity gone. He finally reached out to hold his tormentor. He whispered pleas for mercy. Caleb was a large, imposing figure. He held Aiden pinned beneath him easily. A storm raged outside the panoramic windows. Lightning flashed across the New York skyline. Thunder shook the very foundations of the building. Caleb's chest rose and fell heavily. A drop of sweat fell onto Aiden's back. It burned his skin like a brand. His body tensed instinctively. Caleb's voice was a harsh rasp. He ordered Aiden to relax. A sharp slap echoed in the room. Caleb seemed to like the sound it made. He struck him again several more times. Aiden buried his face in the expensive sheets. His body trembled with each impact. Silent tears soaked the silk fabric. He was no longer the proud Aiden Chase. His mother was gone. No one was left to protect him. He chewed on a pastry with vacant eyes. His free hand drifted to his stomach. It had been feeling strange lately. He had not mentioned it to Caleb. He hated Caleb for what he did that night. He had taken advantage of his drugged state. He had used him without hesitation. The cruel words he spoke still echoed. They had always been rivals. Aiden was the cherished heir. Caleb was the product of a forgotten affair. Their statuses were worlds apart. His mother had been ruthlessly ambitious. She had clashed with Caleb's own ambition. They had fought a silent war for years. Now, their roles were completely reversed. Aiden was a blind, captive thing. He could not even end his own life. He had tried to bite his own wrists open. Caleb had dislocated his shoulder in response. He had gagged him and tied him up. Aiden knew he must have looked pathetic. Caleb bound his hands and hoisted him up. He yelled at him with furious energy. He demanded to know if Aiden still wanted to die. Aiden could only sob, unable to speak. When Caleb finally let him down, he collapsed. He lay on the carpet, drenched in sweat. His voice was hoarse when he finally spoke. He swore he would kill Caleb one day. His face was numb and his mouth hurt. The threat sounded weak and powerless. Caleb stood over him, shirt half unbuttoned. His chest was broad and powerful. He looked down at the weeping man on the floor. Caleb scoffed at his threat. He called Aiden a pathetic, dying creature. He said killing him would be a fantasy. Aiden's only purpose now was to lie beneath him. It was the best fate he could hope for. He would remain nameless and hidden. Caleb would be the only one to ever want him. He warned him not to dream of anything else. Caleb had many ways to keep him alive. Aiden trembled with pure, impotent rage. His face flushed a deep crimson. He screamed for Caleb to get out. He called him a monster, a psychopath. Caleb just laughed coldly. He bent down and lifted him from the floor. He threw him back onto the soft bed. Caleb then cupped his face forcefully. Aiden blurted out that they were brothers. The words felt like acid in his own mouth. He was an imposter with no family ties. He expected Caleb to mock him for it. But Caleb seemed entirely unfazed. He asked what difference it would make. His tone made it clear. Even if Aiden were his true brother, he would still do this. This was about revenge and humiliation. Aiden was powerless to resist the taunts. Yet he had slowly grown accustomed to this life. As long as he did not try to harm himself, Caleb was not always cruel. The sound of footsteps came from the hall. Aiden turned his head toward the door. A staff member's voice was audible. He informed Caleb that the gentleman was resting. Caleb gave a short, dismissive reply. The door swung open. Aiden's heart leaped with anxiety. He stood up and fumbled his way to the bed. He moved too quickly in his haste. He bumped into a chair, sending it scraping. Caleb walked in to see the chaotic scene. Aiden could not see him approaching. He held his hands out to avoid another collision. Caleb's calm footsteps grew closer. A firm hand gripped his wrist. Aiden tried to yank his arm away. He told Caleb not to touch him. Caleb's expression darkened instantly. He pulled Aiden forcefully into his arms. He asked why he was being so hostile. Aiden felt a wave of insecurity. His sightless eyes began to fill with tears. His voice was raw as he spoke. He dared Caleb to kill him if he had the nerve. Caleb's laugh was cold and sharp. He guided Aiden deeper into the room. He said a man who wanted death should accept anything. He told him to be his property peacefully. He would be rewarded with food and shelter. His tone was like he was speaking to a stray dog. Aiden stumbled along beside him. He whispered that Caleb was dreaming. Caleb shoved him onto the bed without ceremony. He called Aiden a discarded fraud. He said Aiden was the one living in a dream. Caleb told him anyone else would have broken him. He would have been crushed underfoot. He pushed Aiden back down when he tried to sit up. One hand pressed firmly on his shoulder. He seethed with frustration. He again told Caleb to kill him. Caleb's face grew stern at the repeated phrase. He stood up straight and began unbuttoning his shirt. He tossed his jacket aside. He ignored Aiden completely. He climbed onto the bed after removing his coat. Aiden scrambled to the far side. Caleb reached out and pulled him back easily. Aiden was disheveled from the struggle. He swung a hand wildly. The slap connected with Caleb's face. Caleb didn't seem angry. He simply captured Aiden's wrist. He reminded Aiden he was now a commoner. He remarked that he was still defiant. He used to look down on people with such arrogance. Aiden's chest heaved with exertion. Sweat beaded on his forehead. He panted that Caleb was no better. Aiden admitted Caleb had saved him that night, but he never asked for his help. Caleb pressed him firmly into his arms. He hushed him, saying he was tired. He did not want to argue tonight. He ordered Aiden to be quiet now. Aiden's face flushed again with helpless anger. He ground his teeth in frustration. He could not see the look on Caleb's face. He could not know how his own expression looked. Caleb stared at his face intently. He looked into his sightless eyes. Caleb's own expression was dark and intense. He was unlike any of his brothers. He had no powerful maternal family. He grew up neglected and unwanted. He had fought for everything he had. The man was vicious and cunning. His enemies were right to fear him. By the time they saw the threat, it was too late. Caleb was already a formidable power in D.C. The old senator was still in charge for now. Caleb knew how to play the game. He showed just enough ambition, just enough restraint. Caleb suddenly reached out his hand. His callous palm cupped Aiden's face. The rough, warm touch was a surprise. His thumb brushed the corner of Aiden's eye. His voice was strange when he spoke. He said that this was good. Aiden did not understand. Caleb's sharp gaze focused on his eyes. He said blindness was not entirely a bad thing. He confessed that he found it very pleasing. Caleb's voice became a low murmur. He said a smart man would try to please him. Aiden was blind and could not fight back. The world outside was dangerous for him now. Caleb mentioned the drug from that night. He had his people investigating it. It was not what he initially thought. His sources said it was something much worse. Aiden told him to do as he wished. Pleasing him was out of the question. Aiden sensed something was wrong. He asked what was wrong with the drug. Caleb saw his sudden tension. He gave a short, humorless laugh. He said Aiden would not die from it. He told him to stay by his side. He stated that he was Aiden's closest person now. Caleb spoke with a detached finality. He pulled the covers over both of them. Aiden did not resist this time. Caleb lay awake, staring at Aiden's face. He awoke later to the smell of food. When Caleb was away, he ate alone. He would grope his way to the table. When Caleb was home, he would guide him. But there was always a cruel edge to it. Caleb carried him to the dining table. The ankle chain chimed softly. Aiden sat on his lap. He reached out to touch the table's edge. He asked Caleb why he had rescued him. He spoke calmly for the first time. Could not just be for sex. Caleb could have anyone he wanted. He could not believe it was just for humiliation. He told Caleb he was not afraid of death. Caleb grabbed his face, cutting him off. If death did not scare him, why resist him? Caleb leaned in and kissed him hard. Aiden turned his head away in disgust. He wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. He heard Caleb's cold, mocking laugh. Aiden's face was a stony mask. Caleb continued to stare at him. He commented on Aiden's fiery spirit. His words nearly made Aiden snap. Aiden agreed he was in a desperate place. He should depend on Caleb for survival. But he reminded Caleb he never asked for help. He did not care if Caleb killed him now. Caleb's brow furrowed. He tightened his grip on Aiden's neck. He forced Aiden to tilt his head back. Aiden knew some self-defense, but he was no match for Caleb. He was trapped in his grip. His face flushed with anger and exertion. Caleb's voice was menacing in his ear. He said Aiden was his to control now. His life or death was Caleb's decision. Disobedience would mean being locked away forever. He would be Caleb's dirty little secret. Aiden struggled to breathe. He whispered that Caleb was dreaming. The man's hand moved down to his stomach. The touch sent a strange panic through him. He began to struggle violently. He begged Caleb not to touch him there. His lack of cooperation angered Caleb. He pushed Aiden's face towards the table. He asked what part of him he had not touched. Aiden's fingers dug into the polished wood. Rage cleared his head, making him want to fight. Caleb pulled him back into a fierce embrace. He rubbed his cheek against Aiden's. He told him to be good. In return, he would find a cure for his eyes. Aiden did not respond to the offer. This man was truly insane. Caleb turned his face back towards him. He kissed him lightly, his voice softer. He asked if Aiden hated him. The question caught Aiden off guard. He just gave a cold, bitter laugh. Caleb assumed that meant yes. He bit Aiden's lip in mild frustration. He uttered a few more threats and taunts. Aiden ignored them completely. He asked if Caleb feared their father's wrath. He was now known to be in Caleb's custody. Caleb's expression was pure scorn. He said their rivals were not afraid of Aiden. They were afraid of Caleb himself. They feared what Aiden might give him. Aiden remained silent. He was just a pawn now. The senator had spared him for his mother's sake. There might have been some lingering affection, but politics was a heartless game. The old man had been deceived for years. Not killing Aiden was an act of mercy. He did not care about their personal feud. As long as it stayed quiet, he would not intervene. So, when Caleb took him, Donovan was furious. But he did not dare make it a public issue. Now that his location was known, Donovan was desperate. He wanted to silence Aiden for good. Aiden knew this day would come. He and his stepbrothers were never true family. Their rivalry was always a fight to the death. Whatever his mother had done was in the past. They had lost the game, but they had not surrendered. Caleb smoothed down Aiden's hair. After their meal, he left for a meeting. Aiden leaned against a window frame. He felt the cool autumn breeze on his skin. It had been nearly 6 months since he lost his sight. He was still not used to the darkness. A maid, Maya, approached from the courtyard. She stood outside the window. She respectfully informed him the wind was strong. She suggested closing the window. Aiden's gaze was fixed on some distant point. His voice became sharp and cold. He asked if he was a fragile doll. He questioned why he was being so controlled. Maya quickly apologized for her suggestion. Aiden turned and walked back inside. The room had been rearranged for his safety. He could navigate it with ease now. Maya watched his thin figure retreat. She quietly closed the window. Aiden lay on the bed, lost in thought. Caleb's arrival that night had been an accident. He returned late that evening. He smelled of alcohol and cheap perfume. The scent was nauseating. The man tried to embrace him in that state. All his pent-up frustration erupted. He slapped him wildly across the face. He yelled that he smelled disgusting. Caleb was caught off guard by the attack. His face darkened with sudden rage. He bound Aiden's hands behind his back. He threw him face down onto the bed. He sat down heavily, his clothes in disarray. He told Aiden he did not care about his resistance, but he demanded a pleasant facade in public. He reminded him he was no longer a golden boy. He should stop acting so entitled. Aiden buried his face in the sheets. He refused to speak to him. Caleb yanked him over with surprising strength. Strands of hair stuck to Aiden's face. He spoke through clenched teeth. He acknowledged the. Caleb frowned at his tone. He warned him again using his full name. Aiden kicked out in frustration. Caleb caught his foot easily. He pressed it down against his own waist. Aiden bit his lip, his voice shaking. He called Caleb a psychopath again. Caleb's breathing was heavy. His eyes were cold and menacing. He said Aiden had known that for a long time. He cruelly reminded him of his past breakdowns. Aiden's face went pale at the verbal assault. He struggled uselessly against Caleb's grip. Caleb seemed to enjoy his fury. He said Aiden's anger was very satisfying. Aiden seethed, calling him a bastard. Caleb grabbed his robe and pulled. The sound of tearing fabric filled the room. The thin silk parted easily. Caleb froze, his gaze fixed on Aiden's body. Aiden could feel his intense stare. A sense of dread washed over him. His intuition screamed at him. He grabbed for a blanket to cover himself. Caleb ripped it away. He pulled Aiden roughly into his lap. He pressed one hand firmly on his stomach. Aiden screamed in terror. He begged Caleb not to touch him. The darkness made the sensation horrifying. He felt like he was being hollowed out. He broke down, screaming in despair. He asked why Caleb wouldn't let him die. He cried that he had nothing left. Caleb frowned and loosened his grip. A bitter laugh escaped Aiden's lips. He said he had lost everything. He said Caleb had gotten his wish. He was lower than dirt now. Caleb did not know who he was cursing. He looked down at Aiden's stomach. He replied that a bad life was better than none. He promised to let Aiden go when he grew tired. He added it was better than being with those animals. He pulled Aiden's torn robe closed. His intoxication had completely vanished. He let go of Aiden and left the room. He told Aiden to sleep and not to wait up. Aiden turned his back to him, his face cold. Caleb hesitated at the door. He added that he had dinner with colleagues. He explained that no one got close to him. The smell was just from being in a crowd. He felt his own ears grow hot. The explanation felt foolish and weak. But the person in the bed was blind. He could not see Caleb's awkwardness. Aiden's back stiffened at the words. Caleb left the bedroom. His top aide, a man named Marcus, met him. He informed Caleb there was news. Caleb's face became a cold, hard mask. He took the sealed letter from Marcus. They walked towards the study. Marcus had a long scar across his face. He said Donovan's people were still searching. They would not stop until they found Aiden. Caleb sneered at the thought. His powerful presence silenced Marcus. In his study, Caleb opened the letter. The contents made his eyes widen in shock. A new storm was brewing in the capital. Caleb seemed even busier lately. Aiden rarely had a chance to speak with him, but Caleb had started treating him with more care. He was given proper sets of clothes. Maya often unlocked the chains on his wrists and ankles. He was allowed to walk in the courtyard. The weather was turning colder. He stood under the covered porch, wearing Caleb's coat. He listened to the sound of a light rain. He suddenly asked about the eye treatment. Maya, who stood nearby, looked up. She saw Caleb walking towards them. She bowed her head and quietly excused herself. Caleb remarked that his hearing was sharp. He reached Aiden's side in a few long strides. He said they would discuss it later. Under the coat, Aiden's hand rested on his stomach. He asked if he was sick. Caleb was silent for a long moment. He finally said no. Aiden turned to face him. A few strands of Caleb's hair brushed his cheek. He told him not to lie. Caleb's gaze was deep and unreadable. He reached a hand towards Aiden's face. Aiden stared in his direction with sightless eyes. Caleb's hand gently touched his hair instead. His fingers slid down a single strand. Then he suddenly grabbed Aiden's arms. He pulled him close. The sudden movement startled him. Caleb held him in a tight, protective embrace. He changed the subject abruptly. He said the doctor thought his sight might return. He claimed it could happen on its own. Aiden's face was pressed against his chest. He frowned, confused by the sudden news. Later, Caleb lay in bed, clean from his shower. He idly played with a lock of Aiden's hair. The number of staff attending to Aiden had grown. They were careful to prevent any accidents. Caleb seemed to realize Aiden disliked his smell. He always showered before coming to bed now. Aiden had been sleeping a lot lately. He no longer had the energy to argue. He knew Caleb would not kill him. Not after all this time. Caleb suddenly broke the silence. He said he would send Aiden away in a few days. He explained D.C. was about to become chaotic. He asked Aiden to trust him. He would send him somewhere safe. He promised it would not be for very long. Aiden pushed his arm away from his waist. He turned to face him in the dark. He said he had become a monster. Caleb's face was grim. He took Aiden's hand. He placed it on the firm curve of his stomach. He said it was not a monster. It was theirs. Aiden closed his eyes. A tear slipped from the corner. He asked if this was how Caleb planned to kill him. He accused them all of wanting him dead. He said they had finally won. Caleb held his face between his hands. His tone was harsh and commanding. He told Aiden not to be ungrateful. If he had not been there that night, escape was impossible. He reminded him about the effects of the drug. It had no cure without a man. His own voice caught as he said it. Aiden's wet eyelashes fluttered. His lifeless expression angered Caleb. He warned Aiden not to harm himself. He swore he would lock him away forever. He reminded him he had seen his methods. Aiden looked away, defiant. Caleb, only a few years older, was not a gentle man. He struggled to find soft words now. He finally stated that this was not unprecedented. Such cases, though rare, had occurred. He had people searching for information. He promised Aiden he would be fine. He told him not to worry. Aiden opened his mouth but said nothing. He finally asked what would happen if he died. Caleb answered immediately that he would not. This situation was incredibly rare. Most historical cases had ended in death. Finding a surgeon was the critical step. The child's survival was secondary. Caleb's brow was furrowed in thought. He touched Aiden's gaunt face gently. His own name escaped his lips like a prayer. Aiden's eyelashes trembled at the sound. It was a strange, unexpected intimacy. The city was in turmoil. Not even the senator knew all the factions involved. No one expected his mother's fall to cause such chaos. Cold, damp air filled the study. Aiden sat on a small sofa. He held a smooth obsidian tie clip. The powerful man at the desk scoffed. He said Aiden spoke of Jackson with such familiarity. Aiden ignored the jealous remark. He said he could help Caleb. Jackson was a brilliant general, but not a politician. He was a patriot, a shield and a spear. Gaining his support would be a decisive move. Caleb laughed coldly. He asked why Aiden assumed he wanted the top job. Aiden was stunned. He asked if he did not want it. His voice was laced with sarcasm. Caleb stared into his eyes. His gaze was dangerously sharp. Aiden subtly turned his head away. Caleb dropped his gaze. He said the position was not for him. He was the senator's least favorite son. He was a tool, not an heir. Aiden was not convinced. He said Caleb and Jackson were seen as kingmakers. The others would fight among themselves. Caleb then asked about Aiden's ambitions. Did he ever consider recruiting him? Aiden looked back, a faint smile on his lips. He told Caleb his ambition was huge. If not for his own sudden fall, they would be enemies. They would be locked in a fight to the death. Caleb laughed at that. He could not believe Aiden was so resigned. He did not understand his lack of ambition. Aiden asked what else he could do. He was a disgraced criminal. A political rebellion was impossible. Caleb's gaze was cold and disappointed. He had never wanted a fight to the death. He stated that he knew nothing of the plot. He learned of it too late to intervene. The senator's wife had moved too quickly. She had wanted them crushed in one swift move. The memory of his mother brought tears to his eyes. He hated himself for his carelessness. He had not been ruthless enough. Caleb saw the moisture in his eyes. He felt a surge of frustration. Their gazes met and locked. Caleb's eyes held him captive. Aiden looked back at him directly. For a moment, neither spoke. Aiden was the first to look away. It was a strange feeling. Before, he could not see Caleb's expressions. Now, with his vision slowly returning, he saw warmth. He saw something reserved only for him. It was incredibly strange. They had never been close. As children, he had given him some snacks. He had given him some first aid supplies once. As adults, they were polite rivals in public. In private, they were ruthless opponents. Now Caleb had developed feelings for him. It was almost laughable. Aiden stood up to leave. He heard footsteps behind him. A heavy coat was draped over his shoulders. Caleb pulled him into a protective embrace. He murmured that the wind was strong. Aiden looked up at him. He told Caleb not to lose his composure. There should be nothing more between them. Their paths were too different. Caleb's tone was harsh. He said Aiden had always been proud. He never bowed to anyone. He asked what Aiden would have done that night. What if he had not arrived? Aiden looked down the long corridor. He answered without hesitation. He would have stalled for time. He would have fought with his last breath. A vein throbbed in Caleb's temple. He said grimly that none of them would escape. There were 6 men in that room. Some were married with children. 2 of them had already died in accidents. Aiden did not comment. He had his own people. They had arrived only moments after Caleb. He had been devastated for a time, but he had clawed his way back from despair. D.C. was in lockdown. Powerful families kept to their homes. Caleb had guards posted all around him. It was for his safety, or perhaps to prevent his escape. Today, the storm finally broke. Caleb told him to wait at home. Then he did not return. At noon, chaotic footsteps filled the hall. Maya entered with a drawn handgun. She knelt on one knee. She urged her principal to leave. She was his deep cover agent in Caleb's house. He had never activated her before. Aiden's hair was simply tied back. A plain tie clip was his only adornment. He wore loose clothing to hide his condition. He grabbed a decorative saber from the wall. His name was Eclipse. He told her it was time to go. Caleb's men were either drugged or restrained. Aiden's own security team emerged from the shadows. His former aide, a young man named Leo, met him. He had tears in his eyes. He said the city was in chaos. Their team had created a diversion. They had hit a rival security firm. That firm belonged to the senator's wife's family. Aiden's face was hard as stone. He asked if General Jackson had arrived. He was told Jackson's forces were on the outskirts. They could reach them in 15 minutes. They avoided the main roads as they left. The streets were filled with armored vehicles. He asked about Donovan and his other brother. They were cornered by Caleb's forces. Aiden gave a cold smile. Caleb had forced them into this rebellion. He had exposed their corruption. Aiden's own people had planted more evidence. The senator's wife had tried to seize power. She had drugged the senator. Caleb had proposed a plan. The senator faked a coma. It was a grand play to expose everyone. The old man's health was truly failing now. Caleb looked at the blood-red sky. His father would not recover. Marcus brought him a new report. He whispered a few words in Caleb's ear. Caleb's face changed. He told his allies to secure the capital. An old, respected politician wished him well. Caleb was the only one left to take charge. He left the city with his men. The streets had been mostly cleared of bodies. His face was a thunderous mask. Aiden dared to run away from him. He had wanted to send him away himself, but he could not bear to be apart from him. He spurred his horse through the sleet. Aiden had bound his stomach tightly. He rode hard towards the rendezvous point. The Empress and Donovan were at an old church. They looked ragged and defeated. Donovan's son was crying loudly. He ignored the child, staring into the distance. He knew Caleb was coming. Donovan was not the wife's biological son. She had him by a surrogate. Her true son was weak and useless. The senator was a suspicious man. This was why the succession was never clear. He wanted his sons to fight. Donovan's wife pleaded with him. She told him he had been foolish. He told her to get away from him. She retreated, clutching her child. Aiden's forces clashed with their guards. They cut a path through the defenders. He saw his stepbrother from a distance. The saber, Eclipse, slid from its sheath. Donovan saw him and smiled. Then his eyes fell on Aiden's midsection. He vowed to take Aiden with him to hell. Wind whipped Aiden's hair across his face. He walked towards him slowly. He said the score for his mother would be settled. He would die first. His mother had wronged many, but she was not evil. In this viper's nest, no one was innocent. He was not well enough to fight himself. General Jackson was his ally. His mother had also died because of the conspiracy. Jackson had lent him a team of elite soldiers. The fight was short and brutal. Donovan was knocked to the ground. Aiden did not hesitate. The point of Eclipse silenced him forever. His face was pale like the falling snow. He took a back road up the mountain. He collapsed in the waiting vehicle. A sharp pain shot through his abdomen. He thought if he survived this, he would accept it. Maya and Leo were frantic with worry. He wiped the blood from his face. He told them to go to his sister if he died. They could take money and live their own lives. Leo began to cry. He insisted his principal would be fine. Aiden shook his head. He would not be involved in D.C. politics again. A voice called his name from the distance. It was Caleb getting closer. Aiden opened the car door. The handsome, savage man was riding alone. His face was stained and weary. Aiden looked at him with a neutral expression. Caleb dismounted, his horse panting. He begged Aiden to come back with him. In the past, he used cruel words to hide his fear. But Aiden's sight was back. He could see the truth in his eyes. He never meant to die. He was just in so much pain. Caleb held out a hand. He pleaded with him not to leave him alone. Aiden's eyes burned. He remembered a time when they were children. Caleb had been locked in a closet. Aiden had found him. Through a small crack, Caleb grabbed his hand. He begged him not to leave him alone. Aiden had not thought much of it then. Later, they became rivals. Now, Caleb's voice was hoarse. He said he had always needed him. He urged him to come back. They still had important work to do. Aiden looked at his calloused, bloody hand. He slowly reached out his own. Caleb pulled him into a fierce embrace. He pressed his face against Aiden's cold cheek. He promised to get him to a doctor. It took 7 years for Caleb to secure his power. Aiden was his chief strategist. He took his mother's family name, becoming Aiden Sinclair. His grandfather's connections had been invaluable. Caleb became a great leader. Their son was now 7 years old. He was a serious and intelligent child. Caleb had found the best surgeons in the world. Both Aiden and the child had survived. Aiden was a strict teacher for his son. Caleb never interfered. He was secretly afraid of them both. One night in bed, he pressed against Aiden. He complained that the chief strategist was too harsh. It was a ridiculous, unprofessional title for the bedroom. Aiden told him to stop his games. Caleb lifted him up. His voice was thick with emotion. He said, "Gladly." The next morning, he had an early meeting. He kissed Aiden's eyelids before he left. He told him to keep sleeping. Aiden murmured a soft reply. He was the chief strategist, a powerful man. He no longer attended early morning briefings, but he could not fall back asleep. A bright, young voice called out from the door. It was his son asking for his father.